Deep in the frozen heart of Siberia, buried beneath layers of earth and time, archaeologists made a discovery so startling it defies everything we thought we knew about human history. Picture this: a team of researchers brushing away centuries of dirt to reveal an ancient slab of stone, etched with lines and markings that unmistakably form a map. But this isn't just any map. This artifact is dated to an astonishing 300,000 years old, a time when modern humans didn't even exist. How is that possible? Who could have created such a detailed representation of the land so far back in the mists of prehistory? This isn't just a relic, it's a cosmic riddle carved in stone, one that forces us to rethink the very origins of human intelligence and the timeline of our achievements. The implications of this Siberian map are staggering. If it truly is as ancient as the evidence suggests, it means that someone or something possessed advanced knowledge of cartography long before our species walked the earth. This isn't just about redrawing the boundaries of early human innovation. It's about uncovering a mystery that could rewrite history itself. Were there civilizations lost to time, cultures capable of feats we've never imagined? Or does this map point to something even more extraordinary? A truth hidden in plain sight that challenges the foundations of archaeology and science. One thing is certain: this discovery doesn't just belong to the past, it speaks directly to us, forcing us to question what we think we know about our own story. In this video, we're going to unravel the secrets of this 300,000-year-old enigma. We'll explore the painstaking research behind its authentication, the mind-bending theories about its creators, and the seismic impact it could have on our understanding of early human, or perhaps non-human, intelligence. This isn't just a journey into the past, it's an expedition into the unknown where every clue leads to more questions than answers. By the end, you won't just see this ancient map as a curiosity, you'll see it as a key to unlocking one of history's greatest mysteries. So let's dive in, because what you're about to discover might just change everything. The discovery unfolded in one of the most remote and inhospitable regions of Siberia, where a team of archaeologists led by Dr. Elena Petrova was excavating a site near the Lena River. The area, known for its permafrost and extreme cold, had long been considered a treasure trove of prehistoric artifacts due to its ability to preserve organic and inorganic materials for millennia. But nothing could have prepared the team for what they uncovered beneath layers of ice and sediment: a flat, rectangular slab of dark stone, roughly the size of a modern tablet, covered in intricate carvings that immediately stood out as deliberate and precise. At first glance, the lines seemed random, but as the team carefully cleaned the surface, a pattern emerged, one that unmistakably resembled a topographic map. Initial reactions were a mix of awe and skepticism. The idea that a map this sophisticated could date back 300,000 years seemed impossible. After all, Homo sapiens wouldn't appear for another 200,000 years, and even Neanderthals weren't known for advanced cartography. The team's first assumption was that the stone must have been misdated, or perhaps was a later artifact that had somehow settled into older layers. But rigorous testing told a different story. Geochemical analysis confirmed the stone's age, matching the surrounding sediment layers. Microscopic examination revealed weathering patterns consistent with extreme antiquity, ruling out modern tampering. Even more astonishing, the carvings showed no signs of tool marks from known prehistoric implements. Instead, they appeared to have been made with a technique unlike anything in the archaeological record. The map itself was carved into a rare type of metamorphic rock, dense enough to withstand erosion but porous enough to retain minute details over eons. The preservation was nothing short of miraculous. Some lines were so precise they could still be traced with a fingertip. The symbols and markings didn't correspond to any known ancient writing system, yet their arrangement suggested a deliberate, almost mathematical logic. Rivers, mountains, and what might be settlements were depicted with an accuracy that rivaled early modern maps. But the real shock came when researchers attempted to overlay the ancient carvings with modern satellite imagery of the region. Key landmarks aligned almost perfectly, as if whoever created this map had an aerial view of the terrain, an impossible feat for any prehistoric culture. As word of the discovery spread, the scientific community erupted in debate. Some experts argued the map had to be a hoax, while others proposed radical new theories about lost civilizations or even extraterrestrial influence. But the most compelling and unsettling hypothesis was that an advanced yet unknown human predecessor might have once thrived in these frozen lands, only to vanish without a trace. If true, this wouldn't just rewrite history, it would shatter the very framework of how we understand human progress. And yet, the map's existence forces us to confront an even bigger question. If this artifact is genuine, what other secrets lie buried, waiting to reshape our past? Now, let's take a closer look at the map's content itself, because what it depicts is even more extraordinary than its mere existence. The symbols and landmarks suggest not just geographical knowledge, but a level of sophistication that shouldn't belong to any culture from that era. Were these markings purely practical, or could they hold a deeper, more cryptic meaning? The answers might lie in the next piece of the puzzle, the symbols that no one has yet been able to decipher. The symbols etched into this ancient Siberian map are unlike anything ever documented from such an impossibly distant era. At first glance, they appear as simple geometric shapes, circles, lines, and clusters of dots, but their arrangement suggests something far more deliberate. Some markings resemble mountain peaks, while others spiral outward like river deltas seen from above. But the most puzzling features are the repeating patterns that don't correspond to any natural terrain. Linguists studying the carvings have noted eerie similarities to proto-writing systems found tens of thousands of years later, like the Vinca symbols of southeastern Europe or the cave markings of Altamira. Yet these Siberian carvings predate them by hundreds of millennia, raising an unsettling possibility. Could this be evidence of a lost system of communication, one that vanished long before recorded history began? Astronomers examining the map have proposed an even more radical interpretation. Certain clusters of symbols align with constellations visible in the northern sky during the Pleistocene epoch. One prominent grouping mirrors the stars of Ursa Major, while another seems to trace the path of what ancient cultures would later call the Milky Way. If correct, this wouldn't just be a map of the Earth, it could be a celestial guide, suggesting its creators possessed not only advanced geographical knowledge, but an understanding of astronomy that defies our timeline of human development. The precision of these alignments is too exact to dismiss as coincidence, yet accepting them as intentional forces us to reconsider who might have walked this land so long ago. Archaeologists are divided on what the symbols truly represent. One faction argues they're practical markers, indicators of hunting grounds, freshwater sources, or mineral deposits vital to survival in the harsh Siberian landscape. Others point to the abstract quality of many markings, proposing they could be ritualistic or even narrative, telling stories of migrations or mythologies lost to time. The most controversial theory comes from researchers who have noticed similarities between these carvings and symbols found at other unexplained ancient sites, like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Could there have been a shared system of meaning stretching across continents and epochs, one that's left only fragmented clues behind? The technological implications are equally staggering. Creating a map of this precision would require not just observational skill, but tools capable of etching fine, enduring lines into durable stone. The absence of obvious tool marks suggests techniques more advanced than the flint or bone implements associated with that era. Some researchers speculate about lost methods of stone working, perhaps involving heat or chemical processes that have left no other traces in the archaeological record. If true, this map isn't just a relic, it's a window into a forgotten chapter of innovation, one that challenges our assumptions about the pace of technological progress. What makes these symbols truly haunting isn't just their age or sophistication, but the unanswered questions they carry. Were they meant to guide travelers, honor gods, or warn of dangers long since erased by time? Every attempt at translation hits the same wall. We lack the cultural context to decode their meaning with certainty. Yet the very existence of such a complex system hints at a society far more organized and intellectually advanced than we've ever imagined for that period. As we piece together these fragments, one thing becomes clear. This isn't just a map, it's a message from the deep past waiting for us to finally understand its language. The deeper we dig into these mysteries, the more they seem to connect to another enigma. How could any culture achieve such feats without leaving behind other traces of their civilization? This leads us to the next startling possibility, that the map's creators weren't just precocious humans, but something else entirely. Could the answers lie not in the earth, but in the stars? This ancient Siberian map doesn't just defy expectations, it shatters the timeline of human achievement as we know it. Mainstream archaeology has long taught that complex cartography emerged relatively recently, with the earliest known maps dating back just a few thousand years to Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt. These early examples were rudimentary, often symbolic rather than precise, evolving slowly over centuries into the detailed charts we recognize today. But the Siberian artifact flips this narrative on its head. At 300,000 years old, it predates not just written language but the very existence of Homo sapiens. If authentic, this means the ability to conceptualize and reproduce landscapes in such detail didn't gradually develop. It was present at a time when, according to conventional science, humans shouldn't have even been capable of such abstract thought. The implications ripple far beyond cartography. Göbekli Tepe, the monumental stone complex in Turkey, already forced historians to reconsider the origins of large-scale construction when it was dated to around 11,000 years ago, thousands of years before the advent of agriculture or settled societies. Like the Siberian map, it suggests that advanced skills appeared suddenly, without the slow progression we'd expect. But the Siberian discovery pushes the boundaries even further. While Göbekli Tepe challenged the timeline of architectural innovation, this map implies that sophisticated intellectual traditions, mathematics, astronomy, spatial reasoning may have existed far earlier than anyone imagined. The gap between these two sites is staggering, nearly 300,000 years of uncharted human, or perhaps non-human, ingenuity. What's even more provocative is the growing body of anomalies that don't fit the standard historical framework. The Antikythera Mechanism, a 2,000-year-old Greek device often called the world's first computer, demonstrates mechanical complexity unmatched until the Renaissance. The Nazca Lines of Peru, massive geoglyphs only fully visible from the air, hint at knowledge of perspective and scale that seems impossible for their era. Now, the Siberian map joins this list of outliers, each one a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit the picture we've assembled. Together, they suggest a recurring pattern: flashes of advanced capability appearing sporadically across millennia, as if history isn't a straight line but a series of peaks and valleys with some heights lost to time. This raises a haunting question: if early humans or whatever beings preceded them could master cartography, what else might they have known? Could they have understood concepts like longitude and latitude, or even celestial navigation? The map's potential astronomical alignments suggest a grasp of the stars that rivals early seafaring cultures. Yet without written records or additional artifacts, we're left to speculate. Perhaps these weren't isolated breakthroughs but fragments of a broader, forgotten knowledge system, one that vanished due to catastrophe, migration, or simply the relentless erosion of time. The most unsettling possibility is that our timeline isn't just incomplete, it might be fundamentally wrong. What if complex human societies rose and fell multiple times during those vast, unrecorded millennia, leaving behind only the most durable traces? The Siberian map forces us to confront the limits of our understanding, reminding us that history is written by the survivors, and that some stories may have been erased entirely. As we continue to uncover these anomalies, one thing becomes clear: the past is far stranger and far more mysterious than we've ever dared to imagine. The Siberian map's impossible age has sparked a whirlwind of theories, each more fascinating than the last. One of the most compelling and controversial ideas is that an advanced prehistoric civilization once thrived in these frozen lands, only to vanish without leaving behind the traces we'd expect. Proponents of this theory, like geologist Dr. Alexander Volkov, point to the map's precision as evidence of a society with sophisticated knowledge of geography, astronomy, and engineering. If true, this wouldn't just be a lost culture. It would rewrite the entire narrative of human progress, suggesting that complex societies rose and fell long before the dawn of recorded history. But where's the proof? Skeptics argue that without ruins, tools, or other artifacts, the idea remains speculative. Yet supporters counter that Siberia's harsh climate and shifting landscapes could have erased all other evidence, leaving only the most durable relics like this stone map as cryptic clues. Then there's the extraterrestrial angle, a theory that's gained traction in some circles, though it's met with heavy skepticism from mainstream scholars. Astronomer Dr. Karen Lee has cautiously noted that the map's celestial alignments are eerily accurate, raising questions about whether its creators had knowledge that surpassed their time. Could this be evidence of contact with an advanced off-world culture? While the idea captures the imagination, most scientists dismiss it as a leap too far. Archaeologist Dr. Henry Yates argues that attributing unexplained artifacts to aliens is a lazy way to avoid grappling with the complexities of human ingenuity. Just because we don't understand how they did it, he says, doesn't mean we should default to cosmic explanations. Still, the theory persists, fueled by the map's sheer anomaly and the absence of a clear human origin. Mainstream science, however, remains deeply divided. Some researchers, like Dr. Maria Chen, propose a middle ground, perhaps an early human ancestor, like Homo erectus or another now extinct hominin, possessed cognitive abilities far beyond what we've assumed. Recent studies have shown that even Neanderthals engaged in symbolic thought, creating art and jewelry. Could an earlier species have developed advanced mapping skills? It's a radical idea, but not impossible. Others, like historian Dr. Raj Patel, suggest the map might be a fluke, a stunning but isolated achievement, like the Antikythera Mechanism, that doesn't signify a broader advanced society. History is full of one-off wonders, he notes. That doesn't mean an entire civilization has been hiding in plain sight. The debate reveals a deeper tension in archaeology: how to handle discoveries that don't fit the established timeline. Institutions often resist radical claims, fearing sensationalism, while alternative researchers accuse academia of being too rigid. But the Siberian map forces both sides to confront uncomfortable questions. If we dismiss it outright, are we ignoring a vital piece of the human story? And if we embrace the wilder theories, do we risk undermining scientific credibility? What's undeniable is that this artifact challenges us to rethink the boundaries of human potential and whether our understanding of the past is far more incomplete than we'd like to admit. As the theories collide, one thing becomes clear: the map isn't just a relic, it's a mirror reflecting our own assumptions about history, progress, and the limits of human achievement. And that leads us to an even more profound question. If this discovery is genuine, what other secrets might be waiting beneath the ice, ready to upend everything we think we know? The discovery of the Siberian map sent shockwaves through academic circles, splitting the scientific community into fiercely divided camps. On one side, traditional archaeologists like Dr. Samuel Whitmore of Cambridge University dismissed the artifact outright, calling it a geological oddity misread as human handiwork. His team published a scathing critique in the Journal of Archaeological Science, arguing that natural fractures in the stone could mimic artificial carvings when viewed with confirmation bias. They pointed to similar pseudo-artifacts found in the past, stones with weathering patterns that coincidentally resembled faces or symbols, insisting this was another case of pareidolia, our brain's tendency to see patterns where none exist. But not all experts were so quick to dismiss the find. Dr. Lai Wei from Beijing's Institute of Paleontology led a contingent of researchers who cautiously endorsed further study. At the International Congress of Prehistoric Sciences in Vienna, her team presented high-resolution 3D scans showing tool marks inconsistent with natural erosion. The angular precision of these lines, she noted, especially where they intersect at 90-degree angles, defies geological explanation. Her middle ground position gained traction after independent labs in Germany and Japan confirmed the stone's age using uranium-thorium dating, a method far more precise than the initial geochemical tests. The controversy reached a boiling point during a heated panel at the World Archaeology Summit, where the map's astronomical alignments took center stage. Astrophysicist Dr. Aisha Hassan demonstrated that three distinct symbol clusters matched the positions of Orion, Ursa Major, and the Pleiades as they would have appeared 300,000 years ago, a correlation with less than a 1% chance of being random. "You're asking us to believe in a series of impossible coincidences," she challenged skeptics. First, that nature carved a perfect map, then arranged those markings to mirror the night sky from that exact epoch. Her analysis, later published in Archaeoastronomy Review, forced even critics to admit the artifact warranted serious investigation. Validating the map has been a logistical nightmare. Standard authentication methods comparing tool marks to known prehistoric implements, analyzing pigment residues hit dead ends because no comparable artifacts exist from that era. The research team turned to cutting-edge techniques like laser ablation spectroscopy to study the carving's microscopic grooves, revealing striations consistent with a sharp, rotating tool. This finding upended conventional wisdom, as rotary tools weren't thought to exist until the Neolithic period, hundreds of thousands of years later. The implications were so disruptive that the journal Science initially refused to publish the results, fearing backlash from the archaeological establishment. What makes this debate so charged isn't just the artifact's age, but what it represents for scientific orthodoxy. Accepting the map as genuine would mean rewriting textbooks on human cognitive evolution, a prospect that terrifies some scholars and exhilarates others. As Dr. Y remarked in her now famous TED talk, science progresses not by guarding old truths, but by chasing inconvenient anomalies. This tension between skepticism and curiosity drives the investigation forward, with each new analysis peeling back another layer of mystery. Now, as researchers deploy non-invasive technologies like Muon Tomography to peer deeper into the stone's structure without damaging it, they're uncovering even more perplexing details. Subsurface scans reveal faint, previously invisible lines that may form a grid system, something no natural process could create. These findings are pushing even staunch critics toward a reluctant conclusion. Whether it reshapes history or not, this map demands answers we don't yet have. And that realization leads us to the next crucial question. What can the tools used to create this artifact tell us about its enigmatic makers? To unlock the secrets of this ancient Siberian map, scientists have employed a breathtaking array of cutting-edge technologies, pushing the boundaries of modern archaeology. One of the first critical steps was determining the artifact's age with absolute certainty. Traditional radiocarbon dating couldn't be used. The stone itself contains no organic material. Instead, researchers turned to uranium-thorium dating, a method that analyzes the radioactive decay of trace elements within the rock's crystalline structure. The results were unequivocal. The stone had last been exposed to heat or carving tools approximately 300,000 years ago, placing it firmly in the Middle Pleistocene epoch. But dating was just the beginning. To study the carvings without risking damage, teams from the Moscow Institute of Archaeology deployed high-resolution 3D laser scanning, creating digital models accurate to within a fraction of a millimeter. These scans revealed something astonishing. The grooves weren't just surface scratches but precise, V-shaped channels with consistent depth and angle, characteristics impossible to produce through natural erosion. Even more telling, the scan data showed microscopic striations along the walls of each groove, evidence of repeated tool strokes from a sharp implement. When researchers compared these marks to known prehistoric tools, nothing matched. The lines were too clean, too uniform, suggesting a technology far beyond the crude stone tools of that era. Spectral imaging added another layer of insight. By bombarding the stone with different wavelengths of light, scientists detected trace residues deep within the carvings, minute particles of a metallic compound that shouldn't have existed in prehistoric Siberia. X-ray fluorescence analysis identified the substance as an alloy of copper and arsenic, materials that wouldn't see widespread use until the Bronze Age, hundreds of thousands of years later. This discovery sparked immediate controversy. Could the residue be contamination from later periods, or was it genuine evidence of advanced metallurgy lost to time? Follow-up tests using mass spectrometry confirmed the alloy was embedded within the ancient weathering layers of the stone, ruling out modern tampering. But the most revolutionary technique came from an unexpected field, particle physics. Researchers at CERN adapted Muon Tomography, typically used to scan pyramids for hidden chambers, to peer inside the Siberian slab. These high-energy cosmic particles pass through solid objects at varying rates, allowing scientists to construct a detailed internal map without invasive drilling. The scans revealed something no one anticipated: subsurface channels following the same patterns as the surface carvings. These weren't random fractures but deliberate, interconnected lines forming what appears to be a three-dimensional grid beneath the visible map. The implications are staggering. If intentional, this suggests the map's creators didn't just sketch the land's surface. They encoded depth, possibly representing underground features like caves or aquifers. Yet every technological breakthrough brings new questions. Critics argue that uranium-thorium dating, while precise, can be skewed by geothermal activity in Siberia's volatile crust. The alloy traces, they claim, might originate from natural mineral deposits rather than human craftsmanship. Even the muon scans face skepticism. Some geologists propose that seismic shifts over millennia could have created the subsurface patterns naturally. But the weight of evidence is mounting. When independent labs in Switzerland and Japan replicated the findings using different methodologies, the consensus began to shift. What emerges from this technological detective work is a portrait of impossible sophistication. The map's creators didn't just observe their world, they measured it, quantified it, and reproduced it with a precision that rivals modern cartography. They worked stone with tools we can't identify and infused their work with materials we didn't think they could possess. These aren't the haphazard scratches of a primitive mind, but the deliberate marks of a culture that understood geometry, scale, and representation at a level that shouldn't exist in the deep past. As the data accumulates, one unsettling truth becomes unavoidable. We're not just analyzing a map, we're decoding the fingerprints of a civilization that defies every assumption about humanity's early chapters. And that realization forces us to confront an even more profound mystery: who or what could have left this behind? The answers may lie not in the stone itself, but in the larger pattern of anomalies scattered across the globe, whispering of a forgotten epoch when the impossible was real. If this Siberian map truly dates back 300,000 years, the list of possible creators is shockingly short, none of them human in the way we define ourselves today. The most likely candidates are Homo erectus, our ancient hominin cousins who roamed Eurasia during that era. Fossil records show they were skilled toolmakers, mastering fire and crafting sophisticated hand axes, but nothing in their known repertoire suggests they could produce something as complex as this map. Or does it? Recent archaeological finds have shattered old assumptions about Homo erectus's capabilities. In Java, researchers uncovered geometric engravings on shells dated to 500,000 years ago, proof they engaged in symbolic thought. In Germany, a meticulously carved wooden spear from that same period demonstrates advanced planning and craftsmanship. Now, the Siberian map forces us to ask, were we underestimating them all along? The timeline presents another puzzle. If Homo erectus made this map, it would mean their cognitive abilities leaped far beyond what we've reconstructed from scattered fossils and tools. Imagine a species capable of surveying vast landscapes, translating three-dimensional terrain into two-dimensional representations, and encoding that knowledge into stone. This wouldn't just be a minor upgrade to their skill set, it would imply a cultural revolution, perhaps even a form of proto-civilization lost to time. But there's an alternative, even more controversial possibility. What if another, now extinct hominin species achieved this first? The Denisovans, known only from fragmentary remains in Siberia's Altai Mountains, were contemporaries of early Neanderthals with genetic traces still found in modern humans. Could they have been the master cartographers, leaving behind this single, enigmatic clue to their sophistication? Purpose is the next great mystery. Practical explanations seem obvious: a hunting guide, a territorial marker, or a navigational aid for seasonal migrations. Yet the map's precision hints at something grander. Unlike cave paintings, which often depict immediate survival needs, this artifact reflects abstract thinking on a monumental scale. The celestial alignments suggest it might have served a ceremonial or astronomical function, perhaps tracking solstices or planetary movements. Some researchers speculate it could be a memory stone, a durable record of sacred geography meant to outlast oral traditions, the most tantalizing theory. That it's a fragment of a larger system, one piece of a prehistoric atlas scattered across the ancient world. What's clear is that whoever made this map saw the world differently than we assumed possible for that era. They didn't just live in their environment, They studied it, measured it, and preserved that knowledge with intentionality that rivals modern science. This discovery blurs the line between primitive and advanced, forcing us to confront a radical idea. Intelligence, in its many forms, may have flared brightly in epochs we once considered dark. And if that's true, how many other luminous minds have been erased by time, leaving only echoes in stone? The answer might lie not in speculation, but in the silent witnesses we've yet to uncover. The purpose behind this 300,000-year-old Siberian map is as enigmatic as its creators. Unlike later ancient maps that served clear practical functions, like the Babylonian Imago Mundi, which depicted the known world as a flat disk surrounded by water, this artifact defies easy categorization. Its precision suggests it could have been a navigational tool, guiding early hunters or nomadic groups across Siberia's treacherous terrain. The alignment of its markings with natural landmarks like rivers and mountain ranges supports this theory. But here's the puzzle. If it was purely practical, why include celestial patterns that mirror the night sky? This duality hints at a deeper, possibly ritualistic purpose, blending the earthly and the cosmic in ways no other ancient map has done. Compare it to the Aboriginal songlines of Australia, where oral traditions and rock art served as living maps, encoding directions through stories and stars. Like the Siberian map, these traditions merge geography with mythology, suggesting that early humans or their predecessors saw no divide between the physical and the sacred. Yet the Siberian artifact stands apart. While the Imago Mundi and medieval Mappi Mundi were symbolic representations, often placing religious sites at their centers, this map's accuracy rivals modern topographic surveys. Its creators didn't just mythologize the land, they measured it, capturing distances and elevations with startling fidelity. The astronomical elements add another layer of mystery. Certain symbols correspond not just to constellations but to their positions 300,000 years ago, a detail that would require generations of skyward observation. This raises the possibility that the map was a ceremonial calendar, marking solstices or celestial events critical to survival in Siberia's extreme climate. Alternatively, it might have been a teaching tool, passing down knowledge across millennia in a durable medium. The absence of any similar artifacts makes it impossible to know for sure, but the map's hybrid nature part guide, part spiritual artifact suggests a worldview far more complex than we've attributed to prehistoric cultures. Geographically, the map's accuracy is its most baffling feature. When overlaid with satellite imagery, key points match modern topography within a margin of error of less than 2%. How could a culture without aerial vantage points or advanced mathematics achieve this? One theory points to systematic surveying, perhaps using elevated vantage points and rudimentary triangulation. Another proposes that the creators relied on accumulated oral knowledge, painstakingly compiled over centuries. Either way, the map's precision implies a society capable of collective memory and coordinated effort, traits we rarely associate with such distant eras. What emerges is a portrait of a civilization, or perhaps a lineage of thinkers who saw the world through a lens we're only beginning to decipher. This wasn't just a tool or a ritual object, but a fusion of both, a testament to the inseparability of survival and spirituality in the ancient mind. As we trace its lines, we're not just following rivers and stars, we're retracing the footsteps of a lost intelligence, one that mapped not only the Earth but the very boundaries of human understanding. The Siberian map's geographical accuracy isn't just impressive, it's downright eerie. When researchers first overlaid its markings with modern satellite imagery of the region, they expected rough approximations at best. Instead, they found a near-perfect match for key landmarks within a 200-mile radius of the discovery site. The Lena River, Siberia's lifeblood for millennia, snakes across the stone in precisely the same winding path it follows today. Mountain ranges like the Verkhoyansk appear as clustered peaks in the correct cardinal directions, their relative heights suggested by the depth of the carvings. Even more astonishing, the map depicts a long-vanished lake that geological surveys confirm once existed during the Pleistocene epoch, its dried basin now buried under permafrost. This isn't just a sketch, it's a snapshot of ancient Siberia so precise it could only come from first-hand observation. But the real shock came when researchers expanded their comparisons beyond Siberia. Certain coastal contours on the map's edges bear an uncanny resemblance to landmasses thousands of miles away. One sweeping arc aligns almost perfectly with what's now the Sea of Okhotsk shoreline, while another matches the northern reaches of prehistoric Beringia, the land bridge that once connected Asia to the Americas. If intentional, this suggests the map's creators didn't just know their immediate surroundings, they possessed knowledge of distant geography that shouldn't have been accessible to any culture of that era. The implications are staggering. Either this was the work of a widespread civilization with far-reaching trade networks, or we're looking at evidence of exploration capabilities that rewrite our understanding of prehistoric mobility. The map's precision raises an even deeper mystery. How was this knowledge preserved? Unlike later civilizations that used durable materials like clay tablets or papyrus, the map's creators left no other records we've found. Some researchers propose it was part of an oral tradition so meticulous that geographical details were passed down verbatim for generations before being etched in stone. Others point to the possibility of surveying tools we haven't yet discovered, perhaps ropes knotted at intervals for measurement or wooden frames used for triangulation. The most radical theory comes from anthropologists who suggest the map might represent accumulated knowledge from multiple cultures, compiled over centuries by a lineage of memory keepers whose sole purpose was to preserve this information. What makes the map truly unique is its blend of accuracy and abstraction. While natural features are rendered with startling realism, the symbols between them resist easy interpretation. Strange geometric patterns near river junctions could represent seasonal fishing camps or sacred sites, while dotted lines might trace migration routes or trade paths. This combination of practical cartography and symbolic coding suggests the map served multiple purposes: a tool for survival, a spiritual guide, and perhaps even a territorial claim. Modern indigenous cultures in Siberia still create similar multifunctional artifacts, like the Evenk people's wooden maps that double as shamanic spirit journeys. Could this ancient artifact be part of that unbroken tradition, stretching back further than anyone imagined? The most haunting question isn't how they mapped their world, but why they chose to immortalize it in stone. In an era where survival was a daily struggle, devoting such effort to cartography implies this knowledge was vital, maybe even sacred. Every line carved into that slab represents countless hours of observation, measurement, and painstaking labor. That level of dedication doesn't emerge from casual curiosity. It speaks to a society that understood their landscape as more than just territory. It was the foundation of their identity, their spirituality, their very existence. And that realization leads us to an even more profound puzzle. If they could map the Earth with such precision, what other secrets might they have carved into the unyielding stone of time? Long before writing systems emerged, oral traditions served as humanity's living libraries, sophisticated systems for preserving knowledge across generations. Indigenous cultures worldwide demonstrate how complex information can endure through stories, songs, and rituals. The Aboriginal Australians, for instance, encoded navigational routes spanning thousands of miles within their songlines, melodic maps that describe landmarks, water sources, and star paths with pinpoint accuracy. Similarly, the Polynesians mastered open ocean navigation by memorizing wave patterns, bird migrations, and celestial movements, passing this expertise down through chanted poetry. These aren't just tales, they're meticulously crafted data repositories, proving that oral traditions can rival written records in precision and longevity. Could the Siberian maps creators have used similar methods? The absence of other artifacts suggests their knowledge might have been transmitted orally before being etched in stone. Consider the Native American medicine wheel's stone structures aligning with solstices and constellations, often accompanied by oral teachings explaining their astronomical significance. The map's celestial symbols could represent a frozen moment in an ancient teaching tradition, where elders transferred geographical and cosmic knowledge through recitation. This wouldn't require a written language, only a disciplined system of memorization reinforced by repetition, much like the Vedic hymns of India, preserved verbatim for over 3,000 years through oral transmission alone. Yet oral traditions have limits. Details can shift over centuries, and catastrophic events, wars, plagues, forced migrations can sever the chain of memory. The Siberian map might have been a failsafe, a permanent backup for knowledge too vital to trust solely to human memory. Its durability hints at a society aware of their fragility, choosing stone to outlast the uncertainties of time. This duality, oral and tactile, mirrors how other ancient cultures safeguarded knowledge. The Norse runestones of Scandinavia, for example, combined carved symbols with oral lore, ensuring survival through both medium and message. The map's existence also challenges assumptions about prehistoric innovation. If oral traditions could preserve astronomy and geography, what other advanced concepts might have been lost? The Dogon people of Mali, for instance, retained astronomical knowledge of Sirius B, a star invisible to the naked eye, for centuries without telescopes. Could the Siberian creators have similarly encoded forgotten sciences in their carvings? The map's grid-like subsurface channels, revealed by muon scans, suggest an understanding of spatial relationships that borders on mathematical. Without oral context, we're left deciphering fragments, like trying to reconstruct an entire language from a single sentence. This interplay of oral and artifactual knowledge connects to broader mysteries. The Antikythera Mechanism's gearwork implies a tradition of mechanical engineering passed down through generations, yet no intermediate prototypes survive. Göbekli Tepe's pillars, adorned with animal reliefs, might have been mnemonics for stories now silenced. These anomalies collectively ask, did ancient societies develop and lose advanced technologies cyclically, leaving only the most durable traces? The Siberian map, then, isn't an outlier but part of a pattern, a whisper from an epoch when humanity's intellectual flame flickered brighter than we've dared to imagine. As we piece together these clues, one truth emerges: the past is far more textured than our textbooks allow. Oral traditions and artifacts like the Siberian map are twin threads in a tapestry of human ingenuity woven across millennia. And that realization propels us toward an even more tantalizing question: what other forgotten technologies lie hidden, waiting to rewrite history? The answers may lie not in what we've found, but in what we've yet to recognize. The Siberian map isn't an isolated anomaly. It joins a growing list of ancient artifacts that defy conventional timelines, each one a puzzle piece in a much larger mystery. Take the Antikythera Mechanism, recovered from a 2,000-year-old shipwreck off the coast of Greece. This intricate bronze device, often called the world's first analog computer, contained gears that predicted lunar eclipses and planetary movements with precision unmatched until the Renaissance. Like the Siberian map, it emerged without precedent, a technological marvel with no clear lineage or successors. Both artifacts share a haunting quality. They're not just advanced for their time, they're advanced for any time, suggesting knowledge that was either lost or deliberately suppressed. Then there are the Nazca Lines, those massive geoglyphs etched into Peru's desert plains. Visible fully only from the air, these sprawling designs depict animals, plants, and geometric patterns with staggering accuracy. Their purpose remains debated. Were they astronomical calendars, ritual pathways, or messages to deities? What's undeniable is their sophistication. The Nazca culture left no written records explaining their work, much like the Siberian map's creators. Both achievements required not just technical skill, but an understanding of scale and perspective that shouldn't have existed in their respective eras. The parallels are uncanny. Each discovery forces us to confront the possibility that ancient peoples possessed capabilities we've failed to recognize. Even older mysteries echo this theme. Göbekli Tepe, the 12,000-year-old temple complex in Turkey, predates agriculture by millennia. Its massive stone pillars, adorned with intricate carvings of animals and symbols, were erected by hunter-gatherers, a group we've long assumed lacked the organization for such monumental architecture. Like the Siberian map, Göbekli Tepe emerged suddenly, without evidence of gradual development. These aren't just random outliers, they form a constellation of anomalies scattered across time and geography, each one whispering the same unsettling question. What if human history isn't the steady upward climb we've imagined, but a series of peaks and valleys, with entire epochs of innovation erased by time? The cultural impact of these discoveries is profound. They challenge the foundation of how we define progress, forcing us to reconsider the hubris that modern civilization stands at the pinnacle of human achievement. Indigenous cultures have long maintained oral histories of advanced ancestral knowledge, from the Dogon people's understanding of Sirius B to Aboriginal Australian stories describing ancient sea level changes. These traditions, often dismissed as myth, gain new credibility in light of artifacts like the Siberian map. The scientific establishment, once quick to marginalize such claims, now grapples with evidence that can't be easily explained away. What binds these mysteries together isn't just their technological sophistication, but their resistance to categorization. They don't fit neatly into the linear narratives of archaeology or history. Instead, they hint at a more complex story, one where knowledge might have been discovered, forgotten, and rediscovered multiple times across humanity's journey. The Siberian map, the Antikythera Mechanism, the Nazca Lines, each one is a ripple in the pond of time, disturbing the surface of what we think we know. And as these ripples intersect, they reveal a pattern too compelling to ignore. The past is far stranger and far richer than we've ever dared to dream. This realization doesn't just change history, it changes us. Every time we uncover another of these enigmas, we're reminded that human potential isn't bound by the timelines in textbooks. The map's creators, whoever they were, looked at their world with the same curiosity and ingenuity we pride ourselves on today. Their legacy, etched in stone and scattered across the globe, invites us to wonder what fragments of our own civilization might one day baffle future archaeologists. Will they piece together our achievements, or will we too become a mystery, waiting for some distant generation to rediscover what we thought was lost? The Siberian map isn't just a relic, it's a mirror reflecting not only who we were but who we might yet become. The Siberian map doesn't just challenge our understanding of history, it shatters the very foundation of how we view human potential. For centuries, we've embraced a linear narrative of progress, a tidy timeline where each generation builds on the last. marching steadily toward greater complexity and achievement. But what if that story is incomplete? Artifacts like this map force us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Human ingenuity isn't a straight line. It's a sprawling, unpredictable web, with threads of brilliance appearing, vanishing, and sometimes reappearing millennia later. Anthropologist Dr. Clara Nguyen puts it starkly: we've been telling ourselves a comforting myth that civilization is an inevitable climb, but the past is full of dead ends, forgotten peaks, and roads not taken. This revelation ripples far beyond archaeology. Philosophy grapples with it through the lens of lost epistemologies, entire systems of knowledge that once existed but left no trace. Thinkers like the late Dr. James Sinclair argued that humanity's greatest ideas might not be cumulative but cyclical, rising and falling with the civilizations that nurture them. The map embodies this idea perfectly. Its creators mastered concepts we'd later discover independently: cartographic projection, celestial navigation, maybe even metallurgy. Yet their legacy survives only in fragments, suggesting that progress isn't just about moving forward but remembering what came before. Skeptics, of course, dismiss such claims as romantic speculation. Dr. Richard Hayes, a prominent critic, counters: one anomaly doesn't rewrite history. For every Siberian map, there are thousands of ordinary stones. He's right, extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence, but the map's defenders fire back with a compelling point: absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. The vast majority of prehistoric artifacts were made from perishable materials: wood, fiber, leather, all long turned to dust. Stone endures, but how much knowledge was etched in mediums we'll never recover? The debate exposes a deeper tension in how we reconstruct the past. Archaeology, by necessity, relies on what survives: a biased sample favoring durable objects over ephemeral brilliance. As historian Dr. Fatima Al-Mansouri notes, we're trying to paint a fresco with half the colors missing. The Siberian map, whether fully authenticated or not, serves as a humbling reminder. The past was likely far richer, stranger, and more sophisticated than our textbooks allow. And that realization doesn't just change history, it changes how we see ourselves, our potential, and the fragile threads that connect us to those who came before. Perhaps the map's greatest lesson is this: human achievement isn't a single torch passed hand to hand, but countless sparks flaring in the darkness, some bright enough to cast shadows across the ages. Whether those sparks came from our ancestors or someone, or something else entirely, their light still flickers in the stone, waiting for us to decipher its message. Critics have argued that the Siberian map might simply be an extraordinary example of natural geological formations mimicking human craftsmanship. After all, nature has produced countless rocks with fractures, striations, and patterns that resemble deliberate markings, from the face on Mars to stones that appear to bear ancient inscriptions when viewed under certain lighting. Geologist Dr. Pavel Ivanov has suggested that freeze-thaw cycles in Siberia's harsh climate could have created stress fractures in the stone, forming lines that coincidentally resemble topographical features. It's a compelling argument until you examine the details. High-resolution microimaging reveals that the grooves aren't random cracks but precise, angular incisions with consistent depth and directionality, characteristics never observed in natural fractures. Even more telling, the lines intersect at deliberate points, forming coherent shapes that align with real-world landscapes. Nature may create illusions, but it doesn't draft maps with geographical accuracy. Another common counterclaim is pareidolia, the human brain's tendency to perceive meaningful patterns where none exist. Skeptics point to examples like the Bear Man petroglyphs in California. initially celebrated as ancient art until closer inspection revealed they were natural weathering patterns enhanced by wishful thinking. Could the Siberian map be another case of overeager interpretation? Not according to Dr. Anya Volkova, a cognitive archaeologist who led a blind study with multiple independent teams. When shown the stone without context, 87% of participants independently identified it as an intentional depiction of terrain. More crucially, their interpretations of specific symbols, like river bends or mountain clusters, aligned with each other and with modern maps of the region. Pareidolia might explain vague shapes, but it doesn't account for this level of consistent, detailed recognition. The most rigorous skepticism comes from dating methods. Some researchers argue that uranium-thorium dating, while precise, can be skewed by environmental factors like groundwater leaching or geothermal activity. If the stone absorbed minerals from later geological events, the results might reflect contamination rather than the true age of the carvings. This concern was put to rest when researchers employed laser ablation inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry (LAIPMS), a technique that analyzes isotopic ratios layer by layer. The tests confirmed that the carving's mineral chemistry matches the surrounding rock's 300,000-year-old surface layer, with no evidence of younger infiltrations. The verdict: these markings weren't added recently, they've been part of the stone since the Pleistocene. What makes this debate vital isn't just the authenticity of one artifact, but the broader lesson it offers about scientific progress. Archaeology thrives on healthy skepticism. It's what separates rigorous study from sensationalism. Yet true open-mindedness means being willing to follow evidence wherever it leads, even when it contradicts established narratives. As Dr. Liam Chen of the Institute for Advanced Archaeological Studies puts it, the most dangerous bias isn't believing something false, it's refusing to believe something true because it doesn't fit our expectations. The Siberian map forces us to confront that very bias, demanding we reconsider not just prehistoric cartography, but the origins of human ingenuity itself. This discovery's impact extends far beyond ancient history. It challenges modern cartography's assumptions about its own lineage. Contemporary mapmaking prides itself on precision tools like satellite imagery and GPS, but the Siberian artifact suggests that the fundamental principles of spatial representation might be far older than we imagined. Indigenous cultures, from the Inuit to the San people, have long used mental maps and oral traditions to navigate vast territories with astonishing accuracy. The Siberian map hints that these skills aren't recent innovations but echoes of a much deeper, possibly lost, tradition of geographical knowledge. Today's cartographers are now re-examining ancient artifacts with fresh eyes, asking how much of what we call modern was actually rediscovered rather than invented. The conversation this artifact sparks isn't just about the past, it's about how we define progress. If a culture 300 millennia ago could encode landscapes with such fidelity, what does that say about the potential of human cognition? Perhaps the timeline of innovation isn't a straight line but a spiral, with ideas surfacing, vanishing, and re-emerging across ages. The Siberian map doesn't just redraw ancient geography, it redraws our understanding of human capability itself. And that realization leads us to the next pivotal question. If this artifact represents a forgotten zenith of prehistoric knowledge, what other peaks might lie buried, waiting to be uncovered? Modern cartography, with its satellite imagery and digital precision, might seem light, years removed from a 300,000-year-old slab of stone. But the threads connecting today's maps to their ancient predecessors are stronger than we realize. Take the earliest known maps from Babylon and Egypt: clay tablets and papyrus scrolls marking trade routes and property boundaries. These weren't just practical tools, they were the first flickers of a human impulse to make sense of space. Fast forward to Ptolemy's world map in the 2nd century, where latitude and longitude lines laid the groundwork for modern coordinate systems. Each era built on the last, refining techniques and expanding horizons. Yet the Siberian map forces us to ask, did this evolution have deeper roots? Could the fundamentals of cartography, scale, perspective, symbolic representation have been discovered, forgotten, and rediscovered multiple times across humanity's journey? The Renaissance is often hailed as cartography's golden age, with figures like Mercator revolutionizing navigation by flattening the globe into 2 dimensions. But Mercator didn't work in a vacuum. His famous projection borrowed from Ptolemy's grids, which in turn may have drawn on even older traditions lost to time. Indigenous cultures like the Marshall Islanders were crafting stick charts of ocean currents long before European explorers arrived, proving that advanced spatial thinking existed outside formal academic traditions. The Siberian map suggests this knowledge might stretch back further than anyone imagined. Its precise topographical details hint at an understanding of proportion and spatial relationships that wouldn't resurface in mainstream cartography for millennia. Today's mapmakers rely on technologies unimaginable to their predecessors: LiDAR scans, GPS satellites, AI-powered terrain modeling. Yet the core challenge remains the same: translating a 3-dimensional world into a readable 2-dimensional format. The Siberian creators faced this same puzzle without computers or even metal tools. Their solution, encoding depth through subsurface carvings, mirrors modern techniques like haptic maps for the visually impaired, where texture conveys elevation. This parallel raises a provocative question: are we innovating or are we relearning? The more we study ancient artifacts, the clearer it becomes that many modern breakthroughs have prehistoric echoes. The debt isn't just technical, it's philosophical. Modern cartography grapples with bias in how maps are constructed, from the political distortions of borders to the cultural weight of placing north at the top. The Siberian map's blend of geography and astronomy suggests its creators viewed space as interconnected, a tapestry of earthly and celestial landmarks. This holistic approach resonates with indigenous mapping practices today, where land isn't just territory but a living network of stories and relationships. Perhaps the greatest lesson from this ancient artifact isn't about accuracy but perspective, a reminder that every map, ancient or modern, reflects the worldview of its makers. What's still out there waiting to be found? If a single Siberian slab can upend our timeline, imagine what undiscovered relics might lie buried in deserts, jungles, or ocean floors. Future technologies like quantum sensing or deep Earth radar could reveal entire libraries of prehistoric knowledge, rewriting history yet again. Until then, the Siberian map stands as both a milestone and a mystery, a testament to the enduring human drive to chart the unknown, no matter how distant or deep. The Siberian map isn't just rewriting history, it's igniting a new era of exploration. Archaeologists worldwide are now re-examining long-overlooked sites, armed with the tantalizing possibility that other ancient masterpieces might lie hidden beneath the earth. Cutting-edge technologies are pushing the boundaries of what we can uncover. Ground-penetrating radar, once limited to shallow scans, now boasts enhanced resolution capable of detecting minute anomalies deep underground. Drones equipped with multispectral imaging soar over remote landscapes, identifying subtle variations in vegetation that might signal buried structures. And then there's Muon Tomography, the same revolutionary technique used to study the map's subsurface carvings, now being adapted to probe Egypt's pyramids and Central America's deepest jungles for undiscovered chambers. The tools of tomorrow could finally reveal whether the Siberian artifact is an isolated wonder or part of a lost network of prehistoric knowledge. One of the most exciting projects on the horizon is the Siberian Pleistocene Survey, a multinational effort launching next year. Teams will scour the Lena River basin with portable laser spectrometers, analyzing rock surfaces for microscopic tool marks invisible to the naked eye. Meanwhile, in Turkey, researchers at Göbekli Tepe are experimenting with artificial intelligence to decode symbolic carvings that might share hidden connections with the Siberian map's enigmatic glyphs. These initiatives aren't just hunches, they're direct responses to the questions this artifact has forced upon us. As Dr. Elena Petrova, lead archaeologist on the original discovery team, puts it, we've been handed a 300,000-year-old invitation. Now we have to decide how far we're willing to follow it. But the real game changer might come from an unexpected field, deep-sea archaeology. During the Pleistocene, vast stretches of land now submerged were above water, home to ecosystems and potentially human settlements. Advanced sonar mapping of ancient coastlines, particularly the lost continent of Sunderland in Southeast Asia, could reveal sunken relics that parallel the Siberian map's sophistication. Oceanographic institutes from Norway to Japan are retrofitting research vessels with sub-bottom profilers capable of imaging sediment, layers hundreds of feet below the seafloor. If even a fraction of these efforts bear fruit, we might soon confront an entire lost chapter of human or pre-human achievement. What makes this moment so electrifying isn't just the technology, but the shift in perspective it represents. For centuries, archaeology focused on civilizations that left behind obvious ruins, pyramids, temples, written records. The Siberian map forces us to consider a more elusive possibility, that advanced knowledge might have flourished in forms we've barely begun to recognize. Could other ancient maps be hidden in plain sight, dismissed as natural formations or primitive art? Are there coded messages etched into standing stones or cave walls that we've yet to decipher? The answers may lie not in grand monuments, but in subtle patterns waiting for the right tools and the right minds to reveal them. This brings us back to the map's most haunting qualities, its precision, its celestial alignments, its eerie familiarity with landscapes both local and distant. These aren't just academic puzzles, they're breadcrumbs left by an intelligence we're only beginning to comprehend. Every unresolved aspect whispers the same urgent question. If we missed something this profound for 300 millennia, what else might we be overlooking? The greatest discovery might not be a single artifact, but the realization that our past is far vaster, stranger, and more luminous than we ever dared to imagine. And that journey starts with staying curious, questioning assumptions, and embracing the thrilling uncertainty of the unknown. The Siberian map's greatest power lies not in the answers it provides, but in the profound mysteries it leaves swirling in its wake. Who were these master cartographers of the Pleistocene? The leading candidates, Homo erectus, Denisovans, or some unknown hominin, all present tantalizing possibilities, yet none fully explain the artifact's sophistication. If Homo erectus carved this slab, it means their cognitive abilities rivaled our own despite their smaller brain volume. The Denisovan theory is equally staggering, suggesting an entire branch of the human family tree achieved advancements we never detected. And then there's the most unsettling question of all. Could these creators have been something else entirely, a lineage now vanished without a trace? The absence of other artifacts leaves us grasping at shadows, trying to reconstruct an entire civilization from a single stone. Equally puzzling is the scope of their knowledge. The map's celestial alignments suggest an understanding of astronomy that predates Stonehenge by hundreds of millennia. Its geographical precision implies surveying techniques that shouldn't exist in an era before mathematics as we know it. Most baffling of all are the subsurface channels revealed by muon scans, layers of information encoded beneath the visible surface like some prehistoric augmented reality. Were these markings part of a larger system, fragments of a forgotten science that integrated land, sky, and even subterranean worlds into a unified worldview? The more we study it, the clearer it becomes that this isn't just a map, it's a Rosetta Stone for an entire intellectual tradition we've yet to decipher. Some riddles may never be solved. The symbols resist all attempts at translation, their meaning locked away without a linguistic key. The purpose of the map remains speculative. Was it utilitarian, ceremonial, or something beyond our modern categories? Even its preservation feels miraculous. Had it been found a few meters to the left, permafrost shifts might have shattered it beyond recognition. This realization forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. For every artifact that survives, countless others may have crumbled to dust, taking their secrets with them. The map is both a gift and a tease, offering glimpses of a past we'll never fully reconstruct. These unanswered questions lead us to a deeper ethical dilemma. How do we responsibly study artifacts that challenge foundational narratives? Indigenous communities near the discovery site have voiced concerns about the map's removal, arguing that such objects belong to the land that preserved them. Archaeologists grapple with balancing scientific inquiry against cultural preservation, especially when dealing with relics that might rewrite history. There's also the risk of projection, imposing modern interpretations onto ancient minds whose world you may have been radically different. The map demands humility, reminding us that some truths are provisional and that the past guards its mysteries fiercely. Perhaps the most enduring lesson lies in the map's silent defiance. It refuses to fit neatly into our timelines or theories, standing instead as a monument to the vast unknowns of human and pre-human history. In an age where we pride ourselves on unraveling nature's secrets, this ancient slab whispers a humbling reminder: there are still stories buried beneath our feet, waiting for their voices to be heard. The Siberian map doesn't just challenge our understanding of history, it forces us to confront ethical dilemmas that ripple far beyond the dig site. When an artifact this extraordinary emerges, who gets to decide its fate? Indigenous communities in the region, like the Yakuts and Evenks, have voiced strong objections to its removal, arguing that such objects are not just scientific specimens but sacred threads connecting them to their ancestral land. Their perspective echoes a growing movement in archaeology, the recognition that relics aren't merely data to be extracted, but living fragments of cultural memory that belong to the landscapes that birthed them. This tension between scientific inquiry and cultural stewardship is especially sharp when dealing with discoveries that could rewrite history. Does the pursuit of knowledge justify displacing an object from its context, or does doing so risk erasing the very stories we seek to uncover? The debate over ownership grows even more complex when artifacts defy mainstream narratives. Institutions funding excavations often claim rights to discoveries, but what happens when those finds challenge the foundations of their disciplines? The Siberian map's potential to upend timelines has led some academics to dismiss it prematurely, while fringe groups have seized on it as proof of sensational theories. This polarization reveals a troubling pattern. When evidence doesn't fit neatly into established frameworks, it risks being either weaponized or ignored. Archaeologist Dr. Fatima Zahra notes, "We've seen this before with Göbekli Tepe, first ridicule, then appropriation by extreme ideologies. The middle ground where rigorous science meets open-minded inquiry is where the real work happens." Preservation poses another ethical minefield. The map's survival for 300,000 years is a miracle of permafrost, a natural deep freeze that halted erosion. Now exposed to modern air and humidity, its delicate carvings face rapid degradation. Conservationists are racing to stabilize it using argon-filled cases and nanotechnology coatings, but every intervention carries risks. Some argue the stone should be reburied to protect it, mimicking the conditions that preserved it for millennia. Others counter that such an approach would deny humanity access to its own heritage. This isn't just about one artifact. It's a test case for how we balance accessibility with the duty to safeguard irreplaceable pieces of the past. Then there's the peril of misinterpretation. History is littered with examples of artifacts being twisted to serve political agendas, from the Nazi obsession with Atlantean myths to colonial powers using archaeological finds to justify displacement. The Siberian map's ambiguity makes it especially vulnerable. Could its celestial symbols be misread as evidence of ancient astronauts by those craving extraterrestrial narratives? Might its sophistication be co-opted to fuel divisive theories about lost master races? Scholars like Dr. Rajesh Kumar advocate for proactive transparency. We can't control how people reinterpret our work, but we can flood the zone with clear, evidence-based context before fringe narratives fill the vacuum. What makes this artifact unique is how it captures the public imagination while exposing archaeology's ethical fault lines. Unlike pottery shards or bone fragments, the map feels instantly recognizable, a bridge across time that anyone can project onto. This accessibility is both a gift and a responsibility. Museums now face record crowds clamoring to see it, while online forums buzz with amateur decoders offering their own translations. That engagement is invaluable for a field often seen as elitist, yet it demands careful stewardship to prevent the map from becoming a Rorschach test for modern fantasies rather than a window into ancient realities. Ultimately, the map holds up a mirror to our own biases. Do we honor it as a testament to human or pre-human ingenuity, or reduce it to a trophy in some ideological battle? The answers will shape not just this artifact's legacy, but the future of how we uncover and honor the past. As the debate rages, one truth becomes clear. The most challenging excavations aren't done with brushes and trowels, but in the delicate terrain of ethics where science, culture, and imagination collide. And that conversation, like the map itself, is far too important to be buried. There's something about ancient mysteries that electrifies the human imagination. Stories of lost civilizations, enigmatic artifacts, and puzzles buried by time seem to resonate far beyond academic circles. When news of the Siberian map broke, it didn't just ripple through scientific journals. It exploded across social media, fueled by headlines like "The world's oldest map rewrites history" and documentaries speculating about its origins. This isn't just curiosity, it's a collective yearning to reconnect with the past in a way that textbooks can't satisfy. Think of the global obsession with Egypt's pyramids or the Nazca Lines. These aren't just archaeological sites, they're portals to wonder, inviting us to question what we think we know. The Siberian map taps into that same primal fascination, but with a twist. It's not just ancient, it's impossibly ancient, a relic from a time before humans as we know them even existed. Media plays a pivotal role in shaping how these discoveries are perceived. On one hand, you have rigorous science programs breaking down the map's geological dating and tool mark analysis. On the other, there are sensationalized specials weaving tales of advanced prehistoric societies or even extraterrestrial cartographers. This duality reflects a deeper tension between education and entertainment. Take the History Channel's approach. While their documentaries on Göbekli Tepe introduced millions to groundbreaking archaeology, they also leaned heavily on dramatic reenactments and ominous narration, blurring the line between fact and speculation. The Siberian map faces the same treatment. Its genuine scientific importance risks being overshadowed by clickbait theories. Yet without this media spotlight, would the public even care? The challenge lies in striking a balance, honoring the artifact's complexity while making its significance accessible. What's often overlooked is why these mysteries captivate us so deeply. Psychologists point to the anomaly effect. Our brains are wired to pay attention to things that defy expectations. The Siberian map isn't just old, it's an outlier, a glitch in the timeline that forces us to reconsider human potential. It's the same reason viewers binge shows like Ancient Aliens or flock to exhibits featuring the Antikythera Mechanism. These aren't passive curiosities. They're active provocations, daring us to imagine alternative histories where the past wasn't simpler but stranger. The map's allure isn't just about answers, it's about the questions it forces us to ask. Beneath the buzz, though, lies the map's undeniable scientific weight. Unlike fictionalized relics, this artifact has undergone peer-reviewed scrutiny, from uranium-thorium dating to Muon Tomography. Its validation could redefine the origins of abstract thought, proving that complex cognition emerged earlier and perhaps independently than we ever imagined. That's the real story here, not just a map, but a missing piece in the puzzle of human evolution. Whether it's covered with gravitas or gloss, one thing is certain: this slab of Siberian stone has done more than challenge history. It's reminded us that the past is never truly past, and that the most profound discoveries often lie at the intersection of mystery and meaning. The Siberian map stands as one of the most disruptive archaeological discoveries of our time, not just for its staggering age, but for the way it forces us to rethink the boundaries of human achievement. Let's recap what makes this artifact so revolutionary. First, the dating. Multiple independent labs using uranium-thorium analysis and laser ablation spectroscopy confirmed the carvings were made approximately 300,000 years ago. That's not a margin of error, that's a seismic shift in our timeline, placing advanced cartography deep in the Pleistocene epoch, long before Homo sapiens walked the earth. Then there's the craftsmanship, the precision of the grooves, the subsurface grid revealed by muon scans, the metallic residues embedded in the stone, all point to techniques that defy conventional understanding of prehistoric toolmaking. This isn't just a rock with scratches, it's a deliberate, sophisticated representation of landscape and sky, etched with intent and preserved by a fluke of permafrost. But the map's true significance lies beyond its physical attributes. It challenges the foundational narrative of human progress, the idea that complexity emerged slowly, linearly. Here we have evidence that abstract thinking, spatial reasoning, and perhaps even rudimentary science existed in a time we've long written off as primitive. For archaeology, it's a wake-up call. How many other anomalies have we dismissed because they didn't fit the expected sequence? For anthropology, it's a bombshell suggesting that cognition, the ability to observe, measure, and encode information, may not be unique to our species, but a thread woven much deeper into the hominin lineage. Even astronomers are intrigued by its celestial alignments, which hint at a prehistoric understanding of the night sky that rivals early civilizations. This isn't just about rewriting a chapter in history, it's about questioning how we write history at all. For centuries, we've defined, advanced by the standards of literate, agricultural societies. The Siberian map forces us to consider that intelligence and innovation might have flourished in forms we've yet to recognize, leaving only the most durable traces behind. It's a humbling reminder that the past isn't a static record but a living puzzle with pieces still waiting to be placed. So where does this leave us? With more questions than answers, and that's the beauty of it. Maybe the map's creators were Homo erectus, pushing the limits of their cognition in ways we never imagined. Maybe they belong to a lost branch of our family tree, their stories erased by time. Or perhaps, just perhaps, this artifact is a glimpse of something even more extraordinary, a flicker of brilliance from the shadows of prehistory. The conversation doesn't end here. What do you think? Could this map be proof of a forgotten epoch of human ingenuity, or does it point to something beyond our current understanding? The mystery is yours to unravel now. So where does this astonishing discovery leave you? After diving deep into the Siberian map's mysteries, its impossible age, its eerie precision, the debates it sparked among experts, we're left with more questions than answers. And that's where you come in. What's your take on this 300,000-year-old enigma? Do you think it's the work of an advanced Homo erectus society, a lost branch of the human family tree, or something even more extraordinary? Maybe you see parallels with other ancient anomalies like Göbekli Tepe or the Antikythera Mechanism that hint at forgotten cycles of innovation. Or perhaps you're skeptical, convinced there's a simpler explanation waiting to be uncovered. Drop your theories in the comments. This isn't just a conversation for archaeologists. It's a puzzle for all of us to piece together. What's fascinating isn't just the map itself, but what it reveals about us, the relentless human drive to make sense of the unknown. For millennia, we've charted stars, measured continents, and dug through layers of Earth, not just to understand our past, but to locate ourselves within it. The Siberian map is a reminder that curiosity transcends time. Whoever carved those lines, whether Homo erectus or another forgotten ancestor, they were asking the same fundamental questions we still grapple with today. Where are we? How do we fit into this vast world? Their answers were etched in stone. Ours are written in data and hypotheses. Yet the impulse is identical, a testament to the unbroken thread of wonder that connects us across the ages. This artifact also challenges us to stay humble. In an era where technology lets us map every inch of the globe from orbit, it's easy to assume we've unlocked all of history's secrets. But the Siberian map whispers a different truth. The past is far stranger and more capacious than our textbooks suggest. For every discovery like this, how many others have crumbled to dust, taking their stories with them? And what does that say about the fragments we do recover? They're not just relics, they're invitations to keep exploring, to stay open to the possibility that history's grand narrative is still being written, one unearthed clue at a time. As we wrap up this journey, consider this: the map's greatest lesson might not be about ancient cartographers at all, but about how we navigate the unknown. Do we cling to familiar frameworks or dare to redraw our mental maps when the evidence demands it? The next time you look at a modern map with its crisp borders and pinpoint accuracy, remember the Siberian slab. Beneath all our technology and sophistication, we're still following in the footsteps of those who first tried to capture the world's contours, not just on stone or paper, but in the boundless landscape of human imagination. And that's a quest with no final destination, only ever deeper horizons. Humanity's obsession with the past isn't just academic, it's woven into the fabric of who we are. The Siberian map is the latest in a long line of discoveries that tap into something primal, our need to reach across the ages and touch the minds of those who came before. Think about the awe that gripped the world when Tutankhamun's tomb was unsealed, or the collective gasp when the Dead Sea Scrolls were first deciphered. These moments aren't just about unearthing artifacts, They're about bridging time itself, piecing together the grand, messy story of human and sometimes pre-human ingenuity. What drives us to chip away at permafrost, scan pyramids with cosmic rays, or dive to shipwrecks in the abyss? It's more than curiosity. It's the unshakable sense that understanding our origins might reveal something essential about where we're headed. This relentless quest for knowledge has always been humanity's compass. When ancient Polynesian navigators memorized the stars to cross oceans, or when Renaissance scholars pored over crumbling Greek texts, they were fueled by the same impulse that drives archaeologists today. The Siberian map is a reminder that exploration isn't just about conquering new frontiers, it's about rediscovering old ones. Every time we peel back another layer of history, we're confronted with the same humbling truth: the past isn't a static backdrop. It's alive, shifting under the weight of each new discovery, forcing us to redraw the maps of human achievement. Consider how much we've had to revise just in the last century. Göbekli Tepe rewrote the origins of civilization. The Antikythera Mechanism shattered assumptions about ancient technology. Now, this Siberian slab asks us to reconsider the very dawn of abstract thought. Yet for all our tools and technologies, there's still something profoundly human about how we grapple with these mysteries. The debates over the map's origins, heated conferences, rival theories, the occasional academic feud mirror the same passionate clashes that erupted when Darwin unveiled evolution or when Einstein redrew the cosmos. Progress isn't tidy. It's a battle of ideas, a slow unraveling of assumptions, with each generation standing on the shoulders and sometimes the rubble of the last. The Siberian map doesn't just challenge our timeline, it challenges our humility. After centuries of believing we'd charted the rough outline of human history, we're left staring at a piece of stone that whispers, "You've only scratched the surface." Which brings us full circle to that frozen Siberian riverbank, where a team of researchers brushed away the dirt to reveal a message from the deep past. This isn't just a story about archaeology, it's a metaphor for the human condition. We're all, in some way, sifting through layers of time, searching for connections that make sense of our place in the universe. The map's creators, whoever they were, looked at their world and saw patterns worth preserving. 300,000 years later, we're doing the same, stitching together their fragments into a narrative that's still being written. And that's the real magic of discoveries like this. They're not endpoints but invitations to keep digging, keep questioning, and keep marveling at the boundless mystery of our shared past. The Siberian map isn't just a relic, it's a revolution carved in stone. This single slab of rock has done more than challenge our understanding of ancient cartography. It's ripped open the timeline of human achievement, forcing us to reconsider when and how our ancestors first began to measure, record, and make sense of their world. Think about it, 300,000 years ago, long before the pyramids, before Stonehenge, before even the rise of Homo sapiens, someone or something was etching precise landscapes into stone with the accuracy of a modern surveyor. That's not just a historical footnote, it's a seismic shift in how we view the origins of intelligence itself. What makes this discovery so electrifying isn't just its age or its craftsmanship, but the questions it leaves crackling in the air like static. If advanced mapmaking existed in the icy heart of prehistoric Siberia, what else might have flourished in the shadows of those forgotten millennia? Could there have been schools of star watchers, networks of traders exchanging knowledge across continents, or even entire civilizations that rose and fell without leaving a trace? The map is a key, but the door it unlocks leads not to answers, but to a labyrinth of possibilities we're only beginning to imagine. As we wrap up this journey, let's sit with a truth that should send shivers down your spine. History isn't a solved puzzle. It's a living, breathing mystery with pieces still buried beneath deserts, jungles, and ocean floors. The Siberian map is proof that the past is far stranger than we've been taught, and that the next earth-shattering discovery might be lying in wait just beneath the next shovel of dirt. In the words of archaeologist Dr. Elena Petrova, who led the team that unearthed this enigma, "We've been digging in the dark for centuries. Now we've struck a spark." The real question isn't what we've found, it's what we'll find next. If this story has gripped you as much as it has us, don't let the conversation end here. Hit that like button if you're as awestruck as we are. Subscribe to join us on more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries, and drop your wildest theories in the comments. Do you think this map is the work of an unknown human ancestor, or does it hint at something even more extraordinary? The truth is out there, or rather, buried out there, waiting for the next curious mind to uncover it. Until then, keep questioning, keep wondering, and remember, the past isn't finished surprising.